Hey there Patreons, welcome to another video that I made for this show. This time it's Frenetic, and this was designed by Core Design and released in 1994. You can see an introduction loop which manages to loop through itself and play that title music. Finally we get to that title screen itself. This game was actually recorded for the Shoot 'em Up special, which I did some time ago. If you remember, I think it was top 50 vertical shooters of all time. So this was one of those games. This was Frenetic, and it is a good game. And as you can see, it's got good graphics and it's got some good power-ups as well. So this is my very first sight of the game. I've never seen it before, and I quite liked it. This would really be great in the Lemon competition. Managed to pick up a nice side shot, and the forward firepower is a green cannon which fires a quadruple shot in front of us. And so that's not a bad loadout at the start of the game, and I think some enemies contain more power-ups and firepower, and so let's just blow a few of those up at random and try to stay alive. So far so good. That's now a colour change which seamlessly moves into a canyon, back out again, and so we do get trees and grass and fireballs, it looks like. Meteor strike on this very first level, and you can see some other colourful oddments. You can also see the scrolling is very nicely smooth as well. But that's a smooth death, and it gives us a shield when we die. What's that P? Well, I missed it. So that might have been points, but that was probably our power-ups, which we can collect when we die. That's always my favourite aspect of a shooter, when you can actually collect those power-ups again. And we've seen some of those games already, but you can see in this one I failed to do it. Early series of deaths, so let's play that back again and let's see if we can improve on our gameplay. You can see the introduction and the music is pretty rocky, and you can also see Frenetic itself gives you a few power-ups from the start. I think one of those is slow down speed and the other one's speed up, so you'll probably have to ignore the slow down speed when you're actually playing it for yourself, because obviously who wants to be slowed down in a game like this? But you can see we are now trying in vain, and yes, I've collected the slowdown again. Very well done, and it gives us a side shot which I think can go to any side, and we've decided to move all those onto the right side. Maybe you can shoot those, or maybe they change into different power-ups. I'll have to try that, because this is my first try. I'm just trying to experiment with the game. And you can see a normal side shot does come in handy, and we can also collect this thing which gives us, well, let's see, it looks like a homing missile which follows us around, and I think that thing acts as a shield as well, so maybe those things soak up bullets. There is more firepower which I spectacularly missed, and this one looks like a side cannon, so this ship could be powered up to a miraculous monster machine, a bit like Hybris, but I've never actually got that far with it in this game. try to give this a longer play, and now that we've learnt a few of the tips and tricks of this game, let's see if we can get any further with it. So let's pick up this forward firepower, which gets rid of the triple laser and gives us a dual forward cannon, which definitely fires bullets ahead of us, and if those things strike, it's a one-hit kill. But those things are pretty large and maybe not as spread out as the cannon, but they are more effective if we can get those shots on target. With most shooters, if I get into trouble, I tend to hog the bottom of the screen and treat it like, well, a grid runner type game with things attacking left and right. You can see, well, you could play this type of game on grid runner, it's just that it has a scrolly background. The screen itself moves down with sprites and the ship plays on probably a constant play area. So you can see that the fireballs don't lob bullets towards us, which is a godsend. And then the level seems to loop all over again, and this one should hopefully, well, it might give us a power up. Let's try it out, and yes, that's giving us the double, and that means that they're even bigger bullets, and that means that they do spread out a bit more. And maybe if I had auto fire at this point, it would make the game a lot easier. But I'm employing my usual loop-the-loop technique on the bottom of the screen, and hopefully that by looping around in a circle I can get rid of the bulk of the main enemies in the middle of that screen. Having died, unfortunately there wasn't a chance to pick up my collectibles because I was on the bottom of that screen, and that gives us a disadvantage, because if we had been close to the top, maybe we would have had time to pick up those again. As it is, we go down to the stock weapon, and that's the forward fire green triple shot, and the snakes in this case are a godsend because, well, we managed to pick up the homing missile for maybe a fraction of a second. Ignoring all that, we've managed to find the end of level first boss, so I'm going to try to lay into that as early as possible and weaken its soft spot. The end of level boss in this case isn't too bad because it does fire infrequently enough for us to fly around it. Just like I'd say 70% of these types of bosses, all you have to do is to fly around them in a complete circle and to avoid its sporadic firepower, which you can see it's firing at the moment. Two reminds us of other shoot-em-ups as we find some jellyfish, and that remote control handy, well, that shield that we did have saved us from one bullet. So by this point it's recommended that you have at least a side shot to get through these aliens, and if you can, then you stand the best chance on this level. The snakes at the side are difficult, and I made a complete mess of it, which means I have virtually no chance of getting through this level. But it's okay because this is our first decent try at the game, and this is just footage I recorded for the top 10 shooters, or 50 shooters, whatever I called that, so don't forget, this is just raw footage. It goes on for much longer, which I've now edited, and the final footage was about 5 minutes in the final thing. So what you're getting to see is virtually 95% of the raw footage, and this is me trying to warm up for the game. So this is my final. I'm sure you'll be glad to hear a run through of it. This is the first level all over again, and let's see if we can keep hold of the firepower. It's a bit disjointing because some of the firepower and things which blow up are actually the same colour as the enemy bullets. So our rear fire, you can see sometimes I'm meant to dodge that thinking it's an enemy bullet. We've managed to master the first level. It's not too hard, and people who've played this often enough will be able to memorise these scenes because they seem to loop around, and once you get to one thing it's pretty easy to get to another. So at this point, this game is not Xenon 2. You won't be dying mercilessly on the first level needlessly, because these things are pretty easy if you manage to keep hold of that good firepower. If you manage to collect another side shot, which definitely helps, we'll try and keep hold of this a bit more as we try to tackle that level. Rolling bullets fest at the moment, but at least it's not a bullied monster madness because these things do not fire a hail of firepower towards us. It's more or less to dodge them up, and on the first level it is, and on the first level all that we have to do is to keep that firepower for the second level, and I'm praying for some forward firepower at the moment. That's the 5-way triple spread, I think, and that definitely will come in handy. Now that we've reached the end of level boss, we can now lay into that with all our firepower, and I think our shields as well, and those shields will act as a barrier and will really lay into that guy. And it's great to have the firepower at this stage, and we don't have to destroy all of these armaments. We can simply blow up that gun you can see, and that will finish off the boss. But I like to blow up the armaments anyway, because this is a nice way to set down the boss. And it's great to use, finally, our firepower. Check out level 2, and again I forgot to pick up the speed up, but that's not such of a bother because this is quite a slow level anyway, and we're going to need extra time to blow up some of these enemies because they really do take more than the average firepower, and if we can defend ourselves like this and pick up the decent stuff, suddenly this game becomes more enjoyable and much more fun. And we managed to pick up the upgrade for the forward firepower, which would have doubled it, but unfortunately we seem to have lost everything. So maybe it isn't possible to pick up the P to pick up our power-ups after all, because I haven't seen it since, and maybe you only get one chance to do that in the entire game, not quite sure. But robbing us of energy like this is pretty difficult, and so you will see me hammering that firepower in an attempt to survive and not doing a great job of it. You can see we have some lives. I think it's 3 lives we have remaining, and we must have got lives at score checkpoints because I would have died before this already before now. Destroy the spider, and let's not risk anything else because that seems to be a wall, and it's pretty obvious what we have to do here. Bust through the alien inspired landscape, and maggots in this case remind me of Hybris, and it's no bad thing to be reminded of Hybris. It's just that not that many people, I don't think, have even heard about this game. I certainly hadn't before I started this review. It's got great graphics, smooth scrolling, some good weapons. It would have been nice to keep those. Under any circumstances, at least downgrade those by 1. Unfortunately I didn't, and so it's a penalty which limits most shooters, and it's not something that I relish at any given time. Let's weave our way through this newly spawning firepower, which really does turn into bullet hell at this point. And I think that UFO is supposed to give us something, but we didn't quite reach it in time. So maybe we'll get to see the end of level 2 boss. No idea how many levels there are in the game, and we're down to our last life, so we probably won't be seeing many. And I think we're supposed to take this central channel, but I'm not quite sure. So let's try not to collide with anything. And in these games, sometimes it's difficult to know what is the background. And again, I'm looking at you, Zen on 2. It would have been a lot easier if we could just fly over the top of it. So let's risk flying over the top of it and hope that we're not getting damaged. And it's hard to tell in this game, but I think we're still okay. And as long as we keep dodging, and by luck, we can get through and see what's on the other side. Oh, that was unlucky, and it looks like that's game over. So that looks like the end of this play. Thank you.